What is up, guys? This is Titans Mafia coming at you live from the Titans Mafia studios. Just wanted to make this video today to talk about the Titans Seahawks game. And are the Titans tanking, or are they inadvertently tanking? That is up for debate. I know some people that are on both sides of that argument, so we'll get into that a little later in the video. First things first, Titans Seahawks. The Titans came out with fire, enthusiasm. Coach Vrabel was enthusiastic. They showed up loose. They looked loose. And they took it to the Seahawks for about 3.5 quarters. And then once the Seahawks got it back close, the wheels started kind of falling off, which is a broken record at this point. We've seen this over and over and over and over and over this season. We just cannot hold on to leads. We blow leads. And that's just been the storybook for the Titans this season. One thing that I observed is that Vrabel said in his press conference, somebody asked him about any moral victories or whatever, and he said at this point there are no moral victories in life or football, which is I tend to agree with. I mean, when you're having a season like the Titans are having, it is very difficult to see moral victories because you're right there. You've had a lot of one-score games. You're right there, and then the wheels fall off and you don't win the games, and that's been over and over and over. I also saw a video of Jeffrey Simmons from earlier in the year talking about, like, he's just tired of saying, oh, we got to get better. Oh, we got to get better. And then the same results happen. And he said, when are we going to do enough to win? And, you know, that really struck me. Like, there are leaders like him on this team that feel that way. And I think the tide's starting to turn a little bit, which it should have a long time ago, but it's starting to turn a little bit. And in that Titans-Seahawks game, it was the same old story. We play good for about 3.5 quarters, and then you get in the fourth quarter and you can't hold a lead. And credit to the Seahawks. I mean, they found their matchup, and, you know, poor Avery on the outside against DK. I mean, he did all he could do, but that's just a grown man that he's going up against. And, you know, and they started picking on him. I mean, really and truly, they started picking on him quite a bit. But at the same time, we've got to make those plays. I mean, he has, on the DK Metcalf play, he had his hands on the ball, and he let DK take it away from him. You know, you got to make those plays. Secondly, Ryan Tannehill, and I've loved having Ryan the past few years, but he continues to hold the ball too long and take sacks that he cannot take. And he took a sack the other day that made the time run out when he could have thrown the ball away and lived another down. He is holding the ball too long. And that's part of the reason why, you know, when he came back from injury, that they didn't make the switch back to him from Will Levis. And that's one of the things I observed about Will Levis is if he's not completely swarmed, he's not going to sit back there and take a sack. He will throw it away or run. I mean, he's not going to just blindly lose yardage on purpose. And I'm not saying Ryan did it on purpose. I'm just saying he could have thrown that ball away. And he's holding it too long. He's got to get the ball out quicker. And that's one of the things I think is different from him and Will Levis is Will Levis has the awareness at QB to get rid of those footballs and take off running, and he has the pocket presence. And Tannehill has had it. He has had it, but he tends to hold the ball longer than he needs to. And that's an issue right there. A bright spot in this game was, you know, I loved seeing Chigakonko catch a touchdown from Derrick Henry. Chig, I'm gonna make my prediction that Chig will in the near future make a Pro Bowl. he is a premier tight end, or has the potential to be a premier tight end in the NFL. And I'm talking about the likes of, George Kittle, Dallas Goedert, Dawson Knox, all of those premier tight ends in the league. I think he can be among them. He's physical. He's got the size. He's got the hands. He's got the attributes to be a premier tight end. And then Derrick Henry, I think he's got the second most touchdown passes on the team, which is crazy to me. But he's been dormant for the past few weeks, and then this week you saw flashes of what has been in the past few years for the Titans, and he broke out a little bit. But it goes to show, like I said in my last video, he is a momentum runner. He has to get that third or fourth step before he gets going real good. And this past week, he got to the point where he could get to that third and fourth step, and you see what happened. Which leads me to Tyjae Spears. Like I said in my last video, he's not like that. He can get going. He can shake people at the line, at the hole. So the Titans are going to have a decision to make. They can re-sign them both, but I would be careful if I was the Titans organization to give him a boatload of money where we could use that somewhere else. Like O-line minus Skoronski, because I think he should be starting next year for the Titans. Other than that, I'm not sure. Maybe Dylan Raditz, but that's an if. I do think the Titans in this draft need to, if they get the top 7 pick, they need to draft Olaf Fashanu from Penn State, unless he's taken off the board. And I would not draft a receiver in the first round if I was the Titans, unless those 3 premier offensive tackles are off the board. And if Marvin Harrison Jr. is sitting there after those 3 tackles are taken off the board, I take Marvin Harrison Jr. and I go get a premier offensive tackle in free agency or a trade. Because if your 3 premier offensive tackles that are in this draft, and I'm talking about, there's other really good ones, but the 3 that are first round, top 10 pick offensive tackles, I would take Fashanu from Penn State, because he is an absolute mammoth looking human being. And I've seen some tape of him, and he is pretty dominant at left tackle. But if those 3 are off the board and Marvin Harrison Jr. is sitting there, I would draft him because he is an elite receiver and can be an elite receiver in this league. His dad was, and he has attributes to be just as good as his dad, I think, or even better. You just watch his tape from Ohio State. The kid is electric. He's fast, physical, long, and loves the game. I was watching an interview with him, and the kid just absolutely loves the game of football and works his tail off. Football matters to him. Games matter to him. And I know they do to most players, but you can just tell he has an extra want to in his game, and that has impressed me tremendously in him. But first, I would take that offensive tackle if he's still there, and then if not, I take Marvin Harrison Jr. if he's still there. If the Titans take the left tackle, this wide receiver draft class in this year's draft is deep, and I mean very deep. You could realistically look at the Titans saying, hey, we're drafting one of those 3 offensive tackles, hopefully Olaf Fashanu, but we'll see. And then you're sitting there at the beginning of the second round, and you can draft a kid at receiver like Xavier Worthy from Texas. Also from Texas, you could sit there and draft Adonai Mitchell, which are elite receivers. So the Titans are sitting in pretty good shape. And then after that, I say you need to draft a corner. And I say either get some more O linemen in the draft or get them via free agency, which is kind of what I'm leaning towards after that first pick of the left tackle, because you want experience there. You don't want a bunch of rookies up front unless they're just dominant and like the kid from Penn State. But I would say draft the tackle first, then pick up a receiver early in the second round like Adonai Mitchell or Xavier Worthy, and then get a corner. I wish and I hope in a perfect world that Kool-Aid McKinstry was sitting there after that, but he's probably not because he's elite at his position. But all in all, I think the Titans can strategize in this draft and do it the right way and get everything they need. They just is just going to have to sit down and really, really see who fits their culture there at the Titans organization and who can help them immediately, because they need help immediately. Because like I said before, if the Titans had an O-line, they're in the playoffs. I'm just being honest with you. They are. They won 5 games and have 2 games left, which the possibility to win 7 games with no O-line or abysmal O-line with one guy that looks remotely like he's an NFL lineman, and that's Skoronski. And sometimes some more at flashes of it, but like Dylan Radins, for example. But he's not consistent. Skoronski's the only consistent one, in my opinion, up front, and we need to fix that immediately where we can win. Because if the Titans win out or even win one of the games, that's 5 to 7 games they've won in a season where they were poor up front. Which means if you get an O-line, and we lost some one-score games this year, so we're really looking at 10-plus wins or 9-plus wins with no O-line. If we win those one-score games, if we get an O-line, we're looking at 10-plus games. Seriously, we're in the playoffs. So that's what I think the Titans need to do is fix up front and then get receivers and DBs. Now, to the next part of the show, I would like to talk about, are the Titans tanking? I've heard this in multiple videos and outlets and sports talk radio and anything to do with the Titans that I hear. It's always brought up here recently. Are the Titans tanking? Well, the Titans, I don't believe that they're... If you even looked at the injury report from last week and who all they put on IR, it would very much look like they are. Because you put Jeffrey Simmons on IR and then you put some more on IR and then you put... You've got a lot, like Mason Kinsey's playing slot a lot, and I love Mason Kinsey. I think he should be on the 53-man roster for the entire season because he's solid at punt return. He caught a ball the other day against the Seahawks and looked like he knew what he was doing. But you've got people like that haven't played all year consistently at receiver that are playing now, which, and they shut Will Levis down, which I thought was a smart decision, just because if he's not 100% and can't protect himself, we don't need to risk further injuries. We need him ready to go week 1 of next year at full strength. So I mean, he probably will play one of these last two games, but I do think they need to watch him and make sure he's healthy going into next year. Because the Titans, if they fix their O-line and get some receivers or a couple of receivers and a DB, a corner with Caleb Farley coming back, and I'm putting myself out on a limb there and say that Caleb Farley will be back next year, and have somebody with elite status that's long, physical, fast, that can stretch the field and run with these premier elite receivers that are in this league. The Titans are looking like a playoff team. And I'm not talking about just a wild card. I'm talking about division, AFC championship, if they fix the O-line and get all those pieces. But what I'm leaning towards right now, and I'll know for sure next week by the way the injury report and the way they play next week, if they're tanking or not. But right now, I'm kind of in the middle. I don't know if the way they're playing and the way they're putting people on IR is necessarily that they're tanking. I think that it is more a mixture of, hey, here's our predicament. We're not in the playoff contention. We're trying to make it through without serious injuries to key components of this team. And like a Jeffrey Simmons, there's no need to put him back out there and him get hurt, and then you're looking at having to replace or get somebody to take his place till he comes back next year. So I'm going to reserve my take on if the Titans are tanking until next week and the week after, mainly next week, because I'll see how they play and if anybody else goes on IR or if Will Levis plays or stuff like that. So I'm going to wait, but I want to know what you guys think. If you ever put your thoughts down below in the comments section, I would love to hear your opinion on if you think the Titans are tanking or not. I just want to reserve that till next week at least and see, because this just happened this week about all the IR moves and all of that. So I do want to reserve that till next week, but I do want to hear from y'all, and please leave your thoughts down below on that. And I do really, really think that the Titans are on the verge of fixing this issue up front and all the other issues that they have, because I think that Vrabel comes from New England where he played, and Vrabel knows what it takes to win. I mean, he was on Bill Belichick teams. I mean, he knows how to win, and he knows what kind of culture it takes to win. I mean, look at the Lions right now with Dan Campbell. I mean, they were abysmal for years, and now they get the right dude in there that knows what he's doing and knows how to win. And now they're the third seed right now in the playoffs in the NFC. And I think Vrabel knows how to win. I think what Vrabel needs to do, and Tim Kelly's done some good things, and but he's very, very predictable. It's like run, pass, punt. It's very predictable. Like when Will Levis comes back, and I'm mostly talking about next year, the dude can sling it. He can run. He needs to open it up, spread it out, and let the dude play. I mean, right now we're sitting in two H-back sets and running dive plays that's daggone Madden. I mean, with Will Levis, who can throw a dang football 70 yards. I mean, and on the money. And especially if we get some more elite receivers to go along D-Hop, like you mix in Traylon Burks, say you get a Xavier Worthy or a Donnie Mitchell or Marvin Harrison Jr. if it works out like that. You got two deep threats. They cannot double D-Hop or Marvin Harrison Jr. because one of them's going to have one man on man-to-man coverage. So, I mean, my opinion, spread the ball out, spread it around, share the ball, mix in the run with it, stay balanced, and don't go run, pass, and let the defense know as the game goes on, well, it's first or second down, they're fixing to run, and they stack the box, pull the linebackers down. How about going play action first down more often than they do? They do sometimes, but more often than they do. To keep them off balance, keep them on their heels a little bit where they're not saying, hey, it's first or second down, they're fixing to run the ball. You know what I'm saying? So I'd love to hear your thoughts on that too, what you think the Titans should do offensively, because Vrabel is a defensive guy. And, you know, you look at the Eagles' offensive coordinator from last year, he's at the Colts, and the Colts are in the playoffs right now, as much as I hate to say it. Right now, they're in the playoffs with a rookie quarterback. So that shows what a great play caller can do. I mean, you look at the Eagles now, they had him last year and were dominating people, running them off the field and just destroying them, to now they're winning by one possession, or they just went on a 3-game skid because they can't score because they want to throw the ball deep every time, when their coordinator from last year is at the Colts now was very balanced and used the short, intermediate, and deep balls and ran the ball, and they were so balanced, the defense was off balance all the time. So that's what I'm looking for with the Titans offense, is to be very balanced and unpredictable on those early rundowns where, hey, they'll throw it sometimes on first down. So we can't go down in there, or they'll hit us with slants over the middle because our linebackers are up on the line. So, I mean, that's what I'm looking for, and I'd love to hear your thoughts on that. And, you know, I'd love to hear your thoughts on the Titans' direction offensively, and if you think the Titans are tanking or not. And I'd love to see that, and I will comment on that on my next video. And I do thank you guys. I hope you have a great New Year's and a happy New Year. And I hope that you enjoy family and friends and all the fellowship. And don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe button down below. And stay tuned for more videos. I should do a video probably later this week or this weekend. And I hope to get this thing rolling more and more, and get you guys feedback. And I'd love to hear your feedback on my show so far. I know it's only been 2 videos, but I'd love to hear your take on it. And I love you guys. I love Titan Nation, the Titans still representing. I do have a Will Levis jersey coming in, and some more Titans apparel. This will be my studio. I know I said my garage last time, but I've changed my mind. I've got some flags and memorabilia coming in to line the wall. So I do love you guys, and hope to hear from y'all in the comments. And again, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. Hit the bell for notifications when I do a video. And I love you guys, and tighten up.